with these shenanigans.
You know what, though? They think this is over because Rhoda is no longer the speaker. And they think this is over because they're trying to ride it out through a long weekend that's coming up, or maybe it's the weekend after. I forget, Truth and Reconciliation Day is coming up, or just Tofino Surfing Day, or whatever it is for the federal government. But I think they're trying to just rag the puck to get there, and hopefully this sort of fizzles out. But I don't think it's fizzling out. So Rhoda's resigned. He's taken the blame. And if I understand the health minister correctly, also somehow Putin is to blame. So let's roll that video. Yo, Putin, there's nothing that guy can't do. Let's watch this.
Minister, what is a grave consequence in your own words? Does that not require a government response, an official apology within the House of Commons on behalf of the government for the mistake that Speaker Rhoda made? So, will you make that case?
Well, I understand, as all of us, I stood and applauded. I stood in my place and applauded. And for that, I am deeply sorry, personally. I feel betrayed myself that I was put into a situation and I stood and applauded something that was contrary to my values. But it seems to me that we're all extremely zealous about continuing to pursue this, when what we need to be zealous about, and I can see you shaking your head no, and I would ask you, because I'm sure you and I are aligned in the cause of democracy. I'm sure you and I are aligned in standing against autocracy. And if we're going to battle against and we're going to spend all of our time and energy fighting on somebody who has stepped down, who is an honorable gentleman.
The question was not about the speaker. The question is about an apology.
Right.
Will the government apologize?
So as you're yelling at me,
I'm not yelling. I'm just trying to.
As you're yelling at me, okay, about what you feel the government should or shouldn't do, I'm trying to say to you that I believe the focus of this government, the focus of all parliamentarians, should be standing united. Because what is Putin doing with this? He's lying, he's manipulating, he's trying to turn an earnest mistake into something else.
Put it behind us, though, and so you can move on to what you want to talk about?
I think that the situation was totally unacceptable. And that I'm not sure what folks are after here. I mean, in the question. Let me be very clear. I said it. So let me say this, because I can only speak for me. I am the person that's in front of you right now. I deeply apologize personally. I stood and I applauded somebody who is completely contrary to my values. That made me feel disgusting. Okay, I felt awful and terrible after.
Then resign.
I apologize to anybody who suffered. I apologize to the Jewish community. I apologize to anybody who fought in against the darkness that is. I can say to them that the core of my values is that I stand full square with them, and I would lay down my life in that cause. So I personally apologize, and I am deeply sorry. And every parliamentarian I talked to who stood and applauded that day, I know feels that way.
So why does that?
Oh, really? Then why aren't we hearing apologies from every parliamentarian on the Liberal side, including the big boss man, blackface himself, Sheila?
When you lose the media as a Liberal, you've got a big problem on your hands. Did you hear the cacophony of outrage when he said, I don't know what you want from me? I don't understand what you want, he said. She told you. Are you going to go make the case that the Prime Minister should stand up in the House of Commons and apologize for this?
Yeah, that's the mainstream media.
He's like, I don't know what you want from me.
Unbelievable. And the look in his eyes at getting tough, valid questions, Sheila. You know, it reminds me, I think it was back in the early 60s, there's this famous Ed Sullivan Show clip. It had a lion tamer on, and the lion tamer is losing control of the lions on live TV. And they take the camera off the act that is going south. And that was the look he had, much like that lion tamer, like, hey, come on, cats, you're supposed to sit on stools and jump through flaming hoops. Don't you know your role? We pay you, after all. So it was really quite something. But to the point about Putin, right? yes, Putin is using this. As we discussed back on Monday, Sheila, Putin has used the excuse of, and this is his word, denazification of Ukraine. This idea that there's Nazis galore in Ukraine, which is a huge stretch, let me tell you. But guess what? Thanks to inviting a Nazi, an SS Nazi, no less, into the House of Commons, Putin, all he has to do is say, see, told you, look. I mean, they're even in Canada. How many do you think there are in Ukraine? We gave Putin a multi-billion-dollar propaganda gift.
Imagine the humiliation of being trotted out to stand in front of the media to say, guys, lay off. Putin is using my idiocy as a propaganda win. Like, that's what he stood there and said. Guys, stop. Because the more you make fun of me for how dumb I am, the more powerful Putin gets in his messaging.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, wow indeed, Sheila.
If you like cruising already, well, this is truly something unique. And if you've never been on a cruise ship before, this is the perfect way to start. With a group of like-minded rebels from coast to coast. You can find out all the details, including the different cabin prices, at rebelnewscruise.com. I know you're going to look back on it as the vacation of a lifetime. We've reserved a limited number of Rebel News cabins, so book yours today at rebelnewscruise.com. We'll see you there.